Hello, dividend executives. Welcome back. It is Monday, so you already know we are trading options, reviewing our plays from last week. A few of them expired worthless. We sold some new puts, and let's take a look at all the plays we have on the table for this week, as it is another fun earnings week. We have a bunch of companies that are going to be reporting earnings, and we made a record last month. For the entire 2025, we set some goals that were lofty. We hit those goals. We went far past what I thought we would do. And slowly but surely, we continue to grind up and to the right as we almost are at our $160,000 2025 annual goal. So let's talk about it. Let's take a look, of course, at the report, what happened last week, where we spent some money. And you can see right off the rip there, we got assigned some Apple shares, and we are stoked about that. So let's take a look at a couple of things. We'll scroll back just a little bit. So last week we made quite a bit of plays. We had some MVDL puts out there. We got $80 for that. We had some TSLL puts. We got $70 for that. QQQ dividends came in at $26.80. We bought to close some EOSE puts at $13. So that was nice. We had 13 contracts on that, so we bought those all for a penny. Sold some Connell puts for $30. Bought 100 shares at market of TSLL for $10.37. That's currently trading around, $10.60 or so. We sold some calls into this week at the $11. Been trying to wheel in and out of those, so I'm saying super aggressive. Got paid $185 of rent for the week on that. We bought to close three hood puts? Yeah, 3 hood puts for $1 each. Booked all the profit there. Sold some more Connell puts for $120. At the 25 put. Those MVDL puts we talked about previously expired worthless. We got assigned some Apple shares, which I'm stoked about. At the 205 strike, Apple is currently trading about 206. And then we sold some calls this morning on that. We'll go over that. We had some MSTX puts expire worthless. We sold the Apple call this morning at the 217.5 for $25. That was a super low delta trade. We can look at that as well, but if we did get there, obviously that means we appreciated like crazy this week. We sold some coin puts just here this morning for $127 worth of premium. And that's where we're sitting on the account as of right now. So the account is sitting at $158,682. Right before we started to go live on this video, we were at $159,000, which marked only 1,000 away from where we were at. So let's look at it. For the week, we are pretty much flat. For the month, we're up 3.28% or $5,000. Year to date, we're up $28,000 to 22%. For 1 year, we're up 75% or $68,000. And then all time since we opened this account at Robinhood about 2.5 years ago, we're up $77,000, almost $78,000 or 96.33%. Getting so close to the 100% mark, which would mean we doubled our money. Not too bad for just an average Joe trading cash secure puts and covered calls. So that's where we're sitting in the account. Buying power right now, 37,455. I want to sell more puts, but the market is a little bit too green for me this morning, so I will wait for pullbacks during the week. We did rip some puts on Friday. We did rip some puts this morning on coin, but let's go over it. So contributions, of course, sitting at 0 as of right now. Still trying to figure out if I am able to make any deposits into an IRA now with the income limits. And then on the option side of things, so we have the coin puts out there at the 277.5. We're up $64 on that trade. We have the Apple call out there at the 217.5, up $10 on that. We have the TSLL puts, calls out there, and we're up 65 on those. That's at the 11 strike. I could layer in one more there, but I'm kind of just chilling. I have 600 shares of TSLL. And we've just been wheeling and dealing trying to get rid of those shares, and then we'll get back in. On the put side of things, we have the 9.5 puts up $10 on those. We have the $10 puts that we're trying to get assigned on. We're down 40 on those. I hope I get put those shares by Friday, but if not, no worries. We had the 5 Connell puts at the 25, up $10 on those. And then we have the longer dated TSLL put plays. 10 at the 8, we're up about $300 on that. And then all the way into January at the 4.43, we're up $300 on that. So those are all the plays as of right now. These are the positions as of right now that we have in the account. QQQ, Amazon, Hood, Tesla, Apple, and then TSLL. So those are the plays we have in the account as of right now. This is how much buying power we have, and that's where we're sitting in the account. So let's jump in the spreadsheet. Let's take a look. This is every single trade that we've made the entire year. You can see the in progress there at the bottom. And then, but I want to go over the numbers, how we're looking, because we are closing a record-breaking month. I want to take a look at that. And then one thing also to note is where we are sitting when it comes to earnings this week, right? So AMD has earnings this week. Palantir has earnings this week. Lucid, Rivian, SMCI, Open, Snap, Uber, Wolf, NVO, a bunch of earnings this week. HIMS, a bunch of you probably trade that, and Oscar have earnings this week. I'm not trading those as of right now, but if we get a good opportunity, then I'll layer in some puts there. But let's go over it, of course, how the month of July went. We set a record, and what I mean by a record is we made the most premium that we've made so far in 2025, and we did it here in July. So 5,730 is how much premium we made in this account. We started the month at $152,000, 152,859, which put us around 3.75% return on our capital for the month trading options. We started August at 156,961. We had a nice pullback. We're obviously sitting at that like basically 159 figure now, only 4 days into August. But you guys saw it. We had all the tariffs that went into account on Friday, and so the market just pulled back, and that's what it is. So that's where we're sitting at the account as of right now. So far in August, we've already made $497 on the put side, $28,000, almost $29,000 worth of options income so far, and we're averaging just under $4,000 a month when it comes to options income. So not too bad. When we look at the stats of it, we're at week 32 of the year. So we only have 20 weeks left. Average weekly income is just under $900. Average capital in use is $130,000. And weekly return on capital is 0.68%, which a lot of people can do better than, and a lot of people do worse than. For me, that's right where I like the sweet spot, in between that 0.5% to 1% a week. Whenever I get closer to the 1%, I'm being a little too risky with my money, in my opinion. And then when I'm at 0.5%, I'm just playing it really, really safe. So depending on where the market is, earnings, and chart setups, that depends on where, if I trade closer to the 1% or closer to the 0.5%. So just a little highlight there. July's numbers, obviously we surpassed the 2% base case. We surpassed the 3% base case by $1,000, and we came short of the 4% base case by about $909. So really, really good month. When it comes to August goals, the goal is $2,955 worth of options premium. That is my 2% base case. I always want to hit my 2% base case. And for the most part, we pretty much have gotten it done each and every single month. There's some months that we've fallen short, but on average, we're beating the base case every single month. So that's what we set our base case as, basically $3,000. Our mid case at $4,793. And then our bull case at just under 7,000, which would be really, really hard to do, but it is possible. We'd have to get really risky on options. So how are we sitting? So for July, just as a synopsis there, you can see what was our average. Let me just pull average here. $1,146 a week. So a really, really good month, 5,730. So far, this is how we're sitting. Obviously, we're only 4 days into August, depending on when you're watching this, but $345 from Friday. Today, the $152 from the coin put. And we're just going to see what this week brings to us. I don't want to force anything. That's one of the things I always like to do. I leave cash on hand. I wait for dips. You never know when the market's going to turn, when a tweet's going to come out, when earnings is going to be bad. And so I want to just keep that in mind. So for August, $497 so far. Let's take a look at some of the goals, right? To hit our... Oh, let me just switch this. 159. Oh, we just need one more zero here. I'm like, that doesn't look right. Boom, there we go. So to hit our goal for 2025, we need about $1,000. It's going to take us probably a week and a half to get there, unless the market absolutely tanks. Obviously, we have the QQQ and Apple holdings, so it's really going to depend there. And then to hit our annual options income goal of $34,509, it's probably going to take us 6.5 to 7 weeks to get there if all things stay equal. Again, this is all based off of this average number right here, the $896. If we can stay at $896 a week on average, then we should hit it, in the next 6 to 7 weeks. So we should have it by, I don't know, mid-September. Speaking of how we're doing so far this year, 28,676. Which we've already beat what we made in 2024, so everything's looking gravy there. 2% base case, we need $29.55. Weekly goal would be at $7.38. We've already made some income so far, so we need about $615 a week in order to get that done. And I think we can do it, right? So we have $2,458 left in order to hit our base case goal for this month. And I think it's possible. So we're going to keep pushing towards that. We're going to obviously try to hit the monthly goal. We're going to try to get closer to the annual options income because we're getting so close, 83% of the way there. And I kind of mapped this up today just to see what this account could do going towards the end of the year. So Q1, we came in at 12,281. Q2, 10,168. Q3 already, and we're only, we're in week 5 of Q3. We're already at 6,227. If we were able to hit, I don't know, that $5,000, I mean, obviously we could get about $15,000 if we just continued to repeat what we did last month. I don't know if that's possible. I think we're going to end up right between that $10,000 and $12,000 mark because we know that historically speaking, August and September are bad months when it comes to the stock market. We'll see if that holds true. But one thing to keep in mind is definitely that there's usually a struggle when it comes to these 2 months back to back. So we're going to keep that in mind. We're just going to take the average of the two. If we take the average of, the average of the 3, even though we're missing, basically 2 months out of Q3, that brings us to about a $9,558 average. So that's a really, really low base case in my opinion. That puts us at a total of $38,234 by the end of the year in options income, which is a crazy amount of income when you think of it. Because you can't deposit in these IRAs, depending on your income limits, you being able to make that much money on your money is the way to grow these IRAs, and it's all tax-free. So that's the greatest part there. So let me just grab... This is driving me nuts. Let's see. Yeah, let me just change these to a color we can actually see. Sorry about that. There we go. So 38,234 is a possibility. Obviously, we have to knock out the 34,509 goal to get that done. But I think at worst case scenario, we can probably do $38,000 worth of options income in this account. So that's the update for the account. Those are a little bit of the projections I'm looking for coming into the end of the year since we've already started knocking out some of our goals. We're going to keep pushing. I would love to see a month similar to how we did last month at the 5,700. I would be more than happy if we could at least beat 3,500 to 4,000. As the account grows, we have more buying power. Now I've started buying some stocks, obviously. We've loaded up on some TSLL and we've loaded up on some Apple. So we've reduced the cash position. So we're also incorporating more calls into the account. I'm hoping QQQ cools off at some time so I can buy another 40, 50 shares of that. But I just don't want to FOMO it at the high levels here. So that's where we're sitting in the account. That's the update for July, record-breaking month. And I hope you guys are absolutely killing it in your portfolios as well. I appreciate you as always. Don't forget to drop a like. Happy investing, and we'll catch you next video.